Daily drawing. For today's daily drawing, all you need is a piece of paper or a sketchbook and a pencil and an eraser. We're going to be creating a floating peace sign like this. It's kind of an optical illusion. It uses the ideas of shadow in order to make something look like it's popping. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to find something to trace a circle. You can use tape or you can use some sort of a container. This is my pen container. It's just yogurt. Plop it down and you're going to trace two circles. One, and the next one's going to be a little offset from the first one. The second one is our shadow, our cast shadow. Okay, so we're going to draw two identical peace signs. Let's do another smaller circle inside each of these. Draw lightly so that you can erase later on. Try and get it to be the same thickness all the way around. Next, for our peace sign, we're going to do the bar that goes up and down the middle. Try and find the center point of the first circle, and you can use a ruler to draw that line down the center. And now let's just thicken it up by adding a line on either side and erase the center. Let's do the same thing for the other one. Line down the middle and add thickness to either side. And finally, we need to find the center of that bar. So here's my bar. There's about where the center is on either of them. And I'm going to have two diagonals coming out from either side. Diagonal down, diagonal down, diagonal down. Whoa, it's getting hard to see what I'm doing. And add some thickness. Next up, let's start erasing. I want to erase so that this one is on the top, so I'm going to erase the centers. Any lines that are crisscrossing over that top peace sign. There's my top peace sign. And let's do the same thing with the bottom peace sign. Make sure that there's no lines in the middle so that it's all one solid object. Now let's go through and shade that bottom one. It's going to be the shadow. I'll show you my original one more time. There's the shadow, so we're going to just shade it in all one even color. When you rub with your finger, it evens out the shadow, and it also gives it a kind of a soft, shadowy edge. If you have any hard lines around the edge of your shadow, it will ruin the illusion. So we actually want to erase hard edges and blend out the edges with our finger so it's very even. I see one right there. I'm going to erase that so it's just value, no line at all. Great, we're done with our shadow. Now let's deal with this. I'm going to have it be a white object with a shadow around the edges of it. Think about where your light source is. If the shadow's down here and the object is here, that means the light source has to be up here, coming down this way. So what I'm going to do is think about everywhere the light hits on here, the light's going to hit here. So I need a shadow on the opposite side. Do a medium thick, very dark line all around the inside there. Now I'm looking at this side of the curve. The light is hitting on this side because it's closest to here. It goes boop and it hits right there. So on the opposite side, that's going to be where our thick shadow is. And now I'm getting up toward where the light's hitting. I cannot have shadow on this side or it'll ruin the illusion. So I'm going to make my shadow get smaller and smaller and stop. Same thing over here. The shadow's going to get smaller and smaller and stop so that this whole side, there's no shadow at all. Now let's look at this center bar. The light's probably going to hit on this side, which means this side's going to be in shadow. I'm looking at this bar right now. The light's hitting right here, and I notice that I need to erase a little bit because some of my shading got on it. On the other side is going to be my shadow. Trying to make all the shadows the same width so that that's the same width as that. Over here, this is a little hard because the light hits here, and I don't know which side to put the shadow on. I can choose a side, and I'm going to just do, for this one, I'm going to do a really thin little line for the shadow. The last thing I have to deal with is the rest of this curve. So I've got this shadow here. Do you see how on the outside it peters out to a little point? I've got to do the same thing here. It's going to go peter to a point. A little bit of a thick shadow, and then it peters out to a point. And we're good to go. We just need to do some erasing. I'm going to erase these very thin lines here where the light hits. This is going to create a cool optical illusion because we'll still be able to see that it's a peace sign, but we won't be able to see all the edges of the peace sign. It's going to be implied that it's a peace sign.